green thumbs up. We are, of course, that gardening and natural living show that you didn't know you needed. And every week we talk about gardening, we talk about natural living, we talk about natural healing, and we have loads of wonderful things always in store for you. Always open up to your questions. As you know, you can message us on the studio at 060 904 1056. 0609041056 is the WhatsApp number. And of course, you can message us on Radio Alansaar, Facebook Live, as well as YouTube Live. Siboniso Mkize is with us in studio, and he is manning all the tech today. So today, what are we going to do? We're going to look at the weather. We're going to find out what it's going to be doing for the next week, which is super important for us in terms of gardening. And then, of course, we are going to talk about something very special. I thought, in honor of Eid and Qurbani, that today I would share with you two recipes that you can use, which come from my great-great-grandmother's books, basically, and it is for homemade sausages. But I'm not talking about the kind of sausages that you put into a horog, not a horog sausage. No. I am talking about the kind of rustic sausages that you would see if you are not one of us older people. You would see in the movies. They kind of connected to each other with some string, and they are often hung up in over a fire to smoke. Now, these are not smokable ones. These are not ones that require smoking. These are sausages that you can tie together, pop into your freezer, and turn into a meal very, very quickly. And I will be explaining to you also how you can use them for food. So if you're keen on something a little bit different that you can use some of that gorgeous Qurbani meat for, stay tuned for that. Immediately after the ad break at 9:30, we're going to have an ad break for you, and then we are going to be joined by Dr. Carrie Goodwin. Dr. Carrie Goodwin is joining us just after the 9:30 ad break, and she is going to talk to us about two beautiful things. Firstly, we're going to talk about what you could be doing in your garden. At the same time, we'll be taking your questions, your natural healings questions, your herbs and wonderful healing things that you may want to know, and also your gardening questions. So Dr. Carrie will field those questions, and I will field any Nature's Apothecary questions. So don't be shy. Get them in. We've got you. And then we are going to start talking about cut flower gardens. We're going to find out how do we set up our home, our garden, our patio for some beautiful cut flowers that can, in the springtime and in the summer, just fill our homes with wonderful flowery fancy. And we're going to be doing that with Dr. Carrie Goodwin. Now, the Sunday Lounge today is going to be a different kind of situation because I'll be standing in for Sister Salma Kazi Wahab, which means that we're extending our Green Thumbs Up show this morning right up until 11 o'clock. So you've got 2 hours this time to send us all of your questions, to have everything answered for you, and it'll be wonderful. We're going to miss Sister Salma Kazi Wahab this morning. Goodness me, it's always wonderful to have her coming in and doing her show, the Sunday Lounge, right? All of those beautiful nasheeds. But of course, it is Hajj season, and I'm sure you have all enjoyed the wonderful segments and shows, and lots of it has been posted out on the social media, so you can find those there. So let's get stuck into it. Firstly, I've got a riddle for you. I don't know if Brother Siboniso can hear me there in studio. But if you can, give me a shout out here, because I are having questions for you. And in the absence of that, or together with that, you can answer me on the studio WhatsApp. I have a riddle. So here's a riddle. It's a very easy one. With thorny armor, I stand tall and proud, a symbol of love, often gifted aloud. What is the answer to that? With thorny armor, I stand tall and proud, a symbol of love, often gifted allowed. I wonder what that could be. You will let me know on 060 904 1056. What is the answer to that riddle? So let's get straight into the weather because we have to see what is going on over the next few weeks. We still have some cold snaps that come in, and of course, we want to avoid any cold snaps affecting our plants. So, what is going on that you can expect in the weather? Firstly, if you are in Durban, you can expect today is sunny. But guess what? Monday and Tuesday. On Monday and Tuesday, dear listeners, you can expect some friendly showers. Very nice. A little bit of rain. A spot of rain in this dry winter. Hey, Siboniso! Assalamu
Hey,
alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you keeping?
Alhamdulillah, the comrades kept me from the studio, but it did not keep me from the show. Alhamdulillah.
I can see you right here in front of my laptop, having a team
Do you
on
know?
the Alansaar Cup.
That's right. That's right. I couldn't get to the studio, but I have my Alansaar mug. So, what
Wow.
is everybody drinking this morning? What is everybody eating this morning? I know we've just had our breakfast edition and some of it has been said, but it's never too late for a
For me,
cocktail.
hang
What are
on.
you having, Siboniso?
For me, before I even kickstart my day, I had a warm water together with lemon.
Yes.
Oh wow, that was absolutely delicious.
Isn't it first thing? Wonderful. And I know you normally have your spiky drinks, those things that give you energy and give you
Yeah,
wings and stuff.
no.
But no, hey,
I'm not gonna take that.
you need to cut down on those. So lemon
Yeah.
juice in water, and of course, if you're wanting that extra zing of energy,
Mm,
you're going to throw some fresh ginger in there.
true.
Okay, so fresh ginger. So the weather, Siboniso, in Durban,
Yeah.
we've got some rain Monday and Tuesday coming.
Yeah, actually, it's a little bit windy, gradual subsiding, and not as warm with hazy shine. And
Yes.
if you are around PMP, Mountain Rise, Raystop, it's sitting at 24 degrees, not as warm, but pleasant with bright periods. Yeah, in Joburg, Egoli.
Egoli. Is this today you're
Yeah.
telling me, Sibonisa? Today?
Yes. I only
Okay.
got today's updates on the
Okay.
weather. I don't know what's going on, but in Joburg, they are sitting at 19 degrees. Yo.
Yes.
And it seemed like they're going to have some showers and
Yes.
a little bit windy in the afternoon. And also, there's an update that from this week we might expect some cold. Yeah. So I'm urging everyone, I'm appealing everyone who's listening right now to wear
Stay
some
warm.
cold. Yeah.
To stay warm. You know, Siboniso, I am looking at the weather for the next week, and I thank you for that for today's. You know, Joburg is always a little bit cool. A little bit cool is an understatement of the century because I used to live in Joburg, and I tell you what, it gets so freaking cold there. So cold.
I've never
So
been there.
cold.
I think I have to ask Mohammed Ayaz, one of the days, inshallah, maybe like to go and pay some visit to his house,
Yeah. But you know
Yeah.
what's happening, whether you're in Joburg, whether you're in Cape Town, whether you're in Durban
Yeah.
this week,
Yeah.
we're going to have a little bit of a dip. So we're going to today, today is today. Today, as you say, 24
Yeah.
in here, and Cape Town is a little bit cool. Joburg is cool. But guess what? She's getting colder.
Yeah.
It is getting
You
colder
mean you're gonna
Monday.
get some snow?
Well, I don't see snow for Joburg, and I don't see snow in Cape Town, but I do see the temperatures dropping tremendously. Cape Town
Yeah.
on Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday, Thursday, and only next week, Friday, do they go up by like 1 degree to 19. So, shame, Cape Town.
Oh, so if you are around in places like Drankensberg, yeah, you might expect a lot.
Yeah. Did you say Drakensberg or Drunkensberg? I hope you said Drakensberg.
Drakensberg.
Drakensberg. Astaghfirullah. So
Mm.
in Joburg, where our Muhammad Ayaz is, hey, brother, it's going to get cold. It's going to be colder than Cape Town. It's going to be colder than Cape Town.
Mm.
I mean, tomorrow they're looking at 13 degrees. So what does this mean for our plants? You know, we can put jerseys on, but what does it mean for our plants? Our plants need to get covered or brought out of where there's a lot of frost, because otherwise they're going to get stung. The leaves are going to get burnt, stung by the cold that is, especially if there is rainfall. And we're looking at rainfall in Durban and in Joburg for Monday. Durban, it goes on into Tuesday. Cape Town, we're looking at some rainfall as well, and overcast weather. So what then happens with the cold temperature, that water freezes on the leaves. And even underground, it gets really cold and it can hurt the roots. The roots at least have the blanket, which is soil, and we've spoken about mulching. But if you can cover the plants, cover
Mhm.
your plants, because that's
Yeah,
important.
boy.
Just like you put a jacket on, right? Just like you put a jacket on. Now, Siboniso, it's been Kurbani, right?
Yeah,
Today
boy.
and
Mhm.
yesterday. And so there's
Mm.
some lekker chow going around at the moment. What's your favorite part? Is it that livers and hearts?
Yeah, boy, yes.
Uh-huh. How do you make them?
Maybe I need you to teach me one of the days, maybe in studio. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to
You
teach
know,
you how to
some
make
men,
some pork.
sometimes you are lazy to do some cookings, you know.
Hey, let's to do some cooking. Always let's to do some cooking, because you
Mm.
know, food is love. As Bibi Aisha Laher, Sister Bibi Aisha Laher always says, food is love, and really, really it is. And if you're Portuguese, then you know we cook. We cook up a storm. And today I'm going to share some recipes from that have been in my family for a very, very long time. And you know,
Yeah.
have you ever seen in the cartoons? You get sausages that are in a string, but then you also get sausages that are like, they look like a little horseshoe with a string tied up at the top. So I'm not
Hmm.
talking your sausages like Vienna's. These are your more rustic sausages. Okay. So in Portuguese, there are two kinds of sausage that you can make and that you don't have to sit and hang over a fire so that the smoke can smoke them for 3 weeks. The one is called linguiça and the other is called alheira. So linguiça sounds like it could be Zulu. Linguiça. But it's not. But it's
Yeah.
not.
Mm.
It is actually a wonderful sausage that you can put straight into the freezer. Now, how can you make the sausages? You're going to need to find sausage casing. And the butcheries are normally quite happy to sell you some sausage casing. And if you can use two kinds, either the sausage casing that they use, which is it is
Mhm.
really synthetic if you think about it, or you can use the intestines, right? The sheep or the cow intestines that have been washed. And normally, what we would do is once we slaughter, we wash those intestines out thoroughly and you soak them in a lot of lemon juice and water overnight. That is going to remove any kind of taste or smell or anything so that they are pristine and white. You're going to need a funnel if you don't have one of these sausage filler appendages on a machine, like a baking machine, right? These baking, I don't even want to say the name, but I have to. These Kenwood machines, normally they have that little sausage extruder, right? Where you bake your cakes. If you don't have that, you need a funnel. So a funnel that's a little bit wider that can fit into the sausage, but you can push the meat through there. So here is the recipe for linguiça. The Portuguese linguiça, the halal version, okay? Because
Mhm.
the traditional Portuguese linguiça is made with an animal that we do not eat.
Mhm.
Portuguese are big on. There's a reason that when I was at school,
Linguiça. Mhm.
yeah, linguiça. When I was at school, they used to say, "Oh, Portuguese pork and cheese," because yes, Portuguese eat a lot of pork, but we are doing the halal version because it is possible. And what we're going to do is we are going to take 750 grams.
Yeah, boy.
750 grams of either
Mhm.
lamb or sheep or mutton with no bones. So you need to take the bones away.
Let me
Then,
take that ingredients down before I even
yes,
forgot it.
before you
Mhm.
forget, 750
Carry on.
of
Listen.
that
Mhm,
Bismillah, of the lamb or the sheep, right?
mhm,
Or even if you have beef, if you've slaughtered a cow. So that is your kind of your darker meats, 750 grams. You're also
mhm.
going to need 250 to 30 grams, if you'd like, of the fat. The fat. So
Yes.
it's the fat that is around the organs, the fat that is, just under the skin. You're going to keep some of that fat, the hard fat. Okay. You're going to need 90 grams. So around about one whole red pepper. So it's a green pepper, but the red one or the yellow one is just really nice. The trick is to put that pepper on the fire and roast it, gives it extra flavor. So you put the pepper on the fire when it's a little bit burnt on the outside. You peel off that burnt and you can then cut it up and reserve it for your sausage. You need about 20 grams of salt, so about a tablespoon and a half of salt. You need 3 to 4 cloves of garlic if they are big, as much as half a head if you're Portuguese, because we love the garlic. And you're going to chop that up finely. Fresh garlic is different. You're going to need 8 grams. All right, so you're talking about 2 teaspoons around about of paprika, powdered paprika. You're also going to need a teaspoon of sugar, because the sugar is going to bring out all of those flavors. Okay. You're going to need some chili powder, whichever chili powder you like, whatever strength you like. You can also use fresh chilies mixed with chili powder, and that is to taste. So, in other words, as much as you want. You're going to need a half a teaspoon of ginger, and you're going to need a half a teaspoon of what is dhania, it's not coriander, it's cumin. That's it, cumin powder, right?
Mhm,
Cumin powder. Then traditionally they would use wine, so we are not doing that. We are going to use vinegar. We are going to use brown vinegar or grape vinegar, the darker colored one. And then this is going to make 2 meters of sausage. So here's what you do. You're going to grind up all of the meat, right? Grind it up so that it turns to a mince. And then if you don't have a grinder, you can cut it up with your knife until the pieces are very small. Then you're going to add all of the other ingredients. You're going to mix it together with your hands. And there you go. Fill the sausages. Put the funnel on the tie an end on the one end of the gut. Okay. And then start to fill the gut. As you are pushing the mix through the funnel, you squeeze that piece of gut so that the sausage meat moves along it. Keep filling it. You can use the back of a wooden spoon to help to push the ingredients, right? The actual filling into the sausage, back of the spoon, push it through, use your hands. It doesn't take a long time at all to make this. And once it is full, leave a space about 20 centimeters on the end that you have not tied. Pull the funnel out of that space. And now you can go and create gaps. So you can measure around about 25 centimeters and squeeze and pinch so that there's a gap, because you're going to need to cut that off. And then measure again 25, squeeze and make a gap. Squeeze and make a gap. 25 centimeters. Cut, cut, cut. Tie some string from one. So what kind of string you're going to use? Packaging string works really great. Okay, a
mhm,
twine. A twine is what you need. So you're going to make a hoop, tie one end to the other. And now you can actually freeze them. Place one over the other with some paper in between. And when you want to make these sausages, all you do is stick them in the air fryer or put them in the oven, and they roast up beautifully. You do not need to prick them. You don't need to prick them at all. You can serve this with rice. You can serve this with salad. There is another recipe, which is this one is extremely traditional, and it is a meal on its own where you don't even need rice. It's a beautiful lunch. You make salad, you make fresh veg, and you serve it with this beautiful sausage, which is called alheira. Just like my surname is Carvalho, this is
okay.
alheira. So
I need to fresh.
so they taste beautiful, and of course you can add your own flavors as you want, but this one is a little bit different. Okay, do we need to go to an ad break quickly, or can I just give this recipe?
Yes, it's time for a quick break. We'll be back
Okay.
after this commercial sweep. Keep those messages coming through on
Yeah.
WhatsApp hotline. We will get back to them soon. 060
Yes.
904 1056. Hashtag the clean thumbs up.
See you after the break.
Follow us on Instagram at Radio Alansaar.
You know what really gets under my skin? When my cake or icing just doesn't come out right. It's such a bummer. But I found this incredible margarine called Wooden Spoon, and it's been a total lifesaver for my baking adventures. It makes my icing turn out just perfect every time. When I whip up something with Wooden Spoon, I feel like a master baker. Seriously, my cakes have never looked better. The secret? Wooden Spoon margarine. It's like the magic ingredient for nailing those perfect bakes. And guess what? It's even endorsed by the South African Bakers Guild Association. Just another quality product from the Willowton Group.
I used to keep it in a box, in a mall, with pretend security and humans watching my every move. Then I found Capital Vaults. Now it's stored in a real vault with discreet access. No human contact, no risk. I trust it more than my bank. If what you own matters, protect it like it does. Capital Vaults. Safer, smarter, uncompromising.
As the chill of winter legs come together to bring warmth in need, Alansaar's hosts Winter Drive right here in Pietermaritzburg, and we need your help. We're collecting new or gently blankets and winter essentials for those less fortunate. Drop-off stations at 240 Ortman Road, Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Let warmth this winter from our homes to their homes. Brought to you by Alansaar.
Are you ready to win? Tune in from Monday and test your knowledge on our products and services offered. Daily prizes galore, along with weekly tablet giveaways. Stand a chance to win a grand prize of a brand new laptop. Brand new laptop. The Breakfast Rush, together with the Cellular City group of Vodacom stores. Monday to Friday. Run about 7:20 a.m. Run about 7:20 a.m. Do you want to be a winner? Brand new laptop. Well, let's do this.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
اللهم إنك ترى ما نزل بنا في غزة من الأحوال يا ذا الجلال والعزة يا ذا الجبروت والعزة اللهم أعز أهل غزة اللهم فرج عن أهل غزة اللهم فرح أهل غزة اللهم انصر أهل غزة اللهم داو جريحهم اللهم اشف مريضهم اللهم اقبل شهيدهم اللهم ارحم ميتهم اللهم كفف جراحاتهم وبرد آلامهم اللهم واجعل لهم وللمسلمين فرجا قريبا يا الله اللهم فرج عنا وعن المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين واخذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين يا رب العالمين سبحانك سبحانك ترى الظالمين فتمهلهم حتى يظنوا أنك تهملهم وتبتلي الصالحين في الدنيا حتى يستيئسوا فإن استيئسوا أتيتهم بنصرهم اللهم إنك تعلم أن جراحات المسلمين كثيرة وآلامهم كثيرة في كل مكان وفي كل زمان اللهم فانصرنا على أعدائنا يا الله اللهم فثبت أقدامنا يا الله.
Radio Alansaar, keeping you in the loop.
Get ready for Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you. We got you. Let us bring you the ideas, the facts, support, and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Alansaar.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we are back on Green Thumbs Up. This is the kooky show where we get all sorts of kooky and corny jokes. Today there was no joke, but there was a riddle. And the riddle was, if I can remind you, Sibunisu, with thorny armor I stand tall and proud, the symbol of love often gifted aloud. And the answer has come in. Drum roll, please. Of course it is Brother Manu Govender who wrote and said, it is a rose. Yes, it is a rose. Followed swiftly by Sal, our brother Muhammad Salahuddin. Yes, who also said, surely a rose. We've got another message that has come in. Jazakallah to all of you for the messages. It is wonderful. Salams, Appa, Rabia. Oh, first time I've been called an Appa. Jazakallah, my love. And team, enjoying every minute. Thank you. Blessings. It must be a rose. Yes, she also got it right. And then another message that came in here. Assalamu alaikum. Beautiful show. Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah. I would like to know if there is some home remedies for body pains, especially swollen feet. No stringent methods would be appreciated. Ooh, so swollen feet. First of all, make sure you're drinking enough water. Second of all, make sure that you've had your sugar checked and this is not related to diabetes. And then, of course, thirdly, make sure that depending on your age, you may need some compression socks to wear. That will help. Castor oil will help to remove any toxins that may be there. There are many different reasons why our feet would swell. It could be you're standing for a very long time. It could be from the heat. It could be, as I say, sugar related. So it could be also blood pressure related. It could even be related to heart issues. So we need to really get to the bottom of it when it's something such as swollen feet. So what I would certainly recommend at the moment, if you have no contraindications, and remember, folks, this is for educational purposes. Always consult with your medical practitioner. This is not a replacement for medical advice. Make sure you're getting enough water. Enough means 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day. The bigger you are, the more water you need. The bigger means taller and it means wider. So if you are very overweight, then you will need more water in order to flush out the toxins. A lovely thing that you can also practice is lymphatic massage. And lymphatic massage means you are self-massaging behind the ears, down the sides of the neck, into the shoulders, right into the clavicles. Then you bring that massage down either side into the armpits. Slowly keep massaging down the sides of the body into the groin area. These are the places where our lymph glands are. And then down the legs and down to the feet. Now, if you have your halal, your hubby or your wife that can do that for you, then subhanallah, why not? But otherwise, DIY is where it's at. DIY is where it's at. Sister Fatima Effendi sends us a beautiful Eid Mubarak message. She says, Eid al-Adha Mubarak. May Allah bless you and your loved ones with good health, happiness, and prosperity on this special occasion. Ameen, summa ameen to you, double and triple. There's this beautiful Portuguese saying, which is, may Allah give you double of all that you wish for me. So we do that here. May Allah give you double of all that you wish for me. Now, before the break, we were talking sausages, and I didn't get to give you that recipe, Siboniso.
Go ahead.
So we have, so we got a recipe for alheiras. Now, the beautiful thing about alheiras is, as I say, it is a meal on its own because it contains bread. And you can recycle. So if you've got bread that's sitting in the bread tin and it's gone a bit dry, you want to use either white or brown. It's absolutely fine. White bread tends to work better, but either is fine. You want 500 grams of bread. You're not going to turn it into bread powder. You just want to break it up into chunks. You don't want small, little, tiny little pieces. Then you don't want powder. Then you want 500 grams of chicken. And the chicken is going to be deboned, but you leave the skin in it. Deboned, but you leave the skin in it. 500 grams of chicken. Then you take 500 grams of your beautiful kurbani, whether it is beef, whether it is lamb, whether it is mutton, whatever it's going to be. Absolutely wonderful, eh? Just marvelous. You then take in fact, I should do it in like a Portuguese, not an Italian. You take 2 liters of water. You take 2 liters of water, 10 garlic teeth, so 10 cloves garlic, and 1 onion that you chop fine. So let's go through it again. Your 500 grams of your bread, 500 grams of your chicken, deboned but with skin, 500 grams of your kurbani meat, whatever you've cut, 2 liters of water, 10 garlic cloves, 1 medium-sized onion, finely minced, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of black pepper. Then you head out to your garden or to your balcony where you're growing your parsley, right? And you cut parsley, and you're going to take around about a 1/4 cup of fresh cut parsley. If you don't have fresh cut parsley, you are welcome to use dry, and then a teaspoon is enough. Alrighty? If you have onions or chives and you want to throw that in, you can throw some of that in as well. It goes beautifully. You need about a tablespoon and a half of salt for this. You then add another teaspoon of red pepper. So in other words, cayenne pepper. This also gives you 2 meters of sausage, and you follow it exactly the same way. Now, an alheira, once you have again filled it as I described before with the funnel, measured it out, cut it up, put it into the freezer, you can actually smoke this. Let me just tell you, Siboniso, do you know what they use to smoke these sausages traditionally in Portugal? It's a tree that grows here as an alien invader, eucalyptus. So what they do is they make a fire with coal and they throw eucalyptus into it, eucalyptus leaves, eucalyptus stalks. They throw it in there and they keep feeding it eucalyptus so that, imagine there's a fire, and way up high, about 1.5 meters high to 2 meters high, you have the sausages suspended on a line. And what they do is they throw the eucalyptus in the fire, and that beautiful smoke smokes up the alheira. This alheira is one of the best things, one of the most delicious things. If you add a little bit of olive oil into it, it's wonderful. So here's how you make it. You're going to take olive oil, throw it into a pan, and into that you're going to throw in your onion that you've chopped. Mixy. In Portuguese, this is called estrugido. You mixy. And then you're going to add the chicken. And you're going to fry the bits of chicken until it's almost golden on the outside. Then you add your kurbani meat, depending on how much meat you have cut, whichever meat you've cut, that's fine. Add it in there, and now you throw in your spices. So your paprika, the various peppers, the chilies, if you want some chilies, the salt, and now you're going to begin to cook it until the meat begins to literally start to fall apart. It's got to cook. If you need to add a bit of water, just a little bit to keep it going, you do that. You want to cook it until the meat begins to kind of break up, okay? And once it starts to break up, now you're going to add the bread pieces, your pieces of bread, and you're going to squash it all in, squash it all in, squash it all in. At this point, you're going to add any liquid that is in here. So your 2 liters of water, you're going to add it in there, and you're going to begin to mix it all together until you have a sausage filling that is moist but not soggy. You want moist but not soggy. Runny is going to just fill your sausages with water, and that's not going to work. So now to this, once it's runny, you're going to add your garlic. If you haven't added garlic yet, mix everything together and start to fill up the whole sausage. And there you go.
My mouth is watering.
It's delicious. And if you smoke it up on eucalyptus, it is unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. So now we are going to cross over to someone that is no stranger to the show. Sibonisi, you've met Dr. Carrie Goodwin before? Have you? Yes. So Dr. Carrie Goodwin is our specialist, and she's there. Hello, good morning. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Radio Alansaar once again. How are you?
I've seemed to have lost your voice.
There you are. You're back now.
Yay! Hello. Sorry.
Hello. We have just been
I'm
talking
so much
sausages.
better at gardening than technology.
You are, yes, but that's good because thankfully we have Siboniso in studio, and he's in hand with the tech, so we can just stick to the gardening.
Excellent. I like that idea.
So we have, I was just talking about the weather, and this week we're going to go a little bit colder into Wednesday in Durban, and then start to pick up. Joburg is going to be colder for a bit longer. Cape Town, good luck to them. It's just like cold. So I'm so glad we're in Durban. You Joburgers, you've got a bit of a cold crack snap coming this week.
But we're lucky enough, we're going to warm our gardens with color. And that's going to warm our hearts. When we wake up in the morning, we're going to see the beautiful aloes with the bees busy buzzing in them and the sunbirds around. And then in the evenings when we get home, all those gorgeous white colors are just going to light up under the moon. And we're going to be all, sure, thank goodness we have the warmth from our garden.
Yes, we say Alhamdulillah that we have the warmth from our garden. You know, you were talking about the aloes and the flowers and the bees. And it's always interesting for me that bees in winter become quite dormant, and they kind of tend to not have as many scouts out. But when we are in South Africa and we have the beautiful aloes that are blooming, we still get to feed the bees.
Yes. And you know, I was going to say with the aloes, I mean, down in Natal, you've got some amazing aloe growers. And I was just looking at their names. And I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover or buy an aloe according to its name. But my goodness gracious me, I just love them. I mean, they were called like Ballerina and Champagne and Sunset and these before I even looked at the colors of them, because I think we forget that aloes come in all different sizes, big, medium, small. You know, you can do, I think there's an aloe for every place within your garden. And so when I was looking through, I just thought, I have to find more sun. That is the only problem when you have aloes, is that they need sun. There's not many that thrive in the shade.
Especially if you're in Joburg, you need sun, because we got sun.
Yes. Yeah. You guys are certainly lucky. We have too many trees up here. But
we can brag.
I know. Well, actually, I'm learning quite a lot about Natal because I was talking to some people who live down there, and I was saying even things like our harvest, like we don't get to successfully grow tomatoes and basil now in the winter. And then I was told tomatoes do fabulously with you guys down along the coast because there's not as much rain, so they don't get as much disease. I was told you could fertilize your gardens in the winter because your temperatures don't drop as much as us. I was like, it feels like you're on another planet. I mean, goodness gracious. It was.
You know, it's so true, Carrie. When I moved here, I certainly felt like we were on another planet because it's just there's so much that we can do here that we can't do up in Joburg or for that matter down in Cape Town. Now you mentioned aloes. In the last week on the show, we had quite a lot of talk about aloes and aloe vera and aloe vera madeirensis, and we spoke about the different aloes and the different medicinal benefits of various different aloes. And what a lot of people don't know is that the aloes, whichever aloe it is, their medicinal benefits only really come to fullest once the plant has flowered for the first time. Isn't it interesting?
Yes, I never knew that either.
Yes, so the aloe if you have aloe that's in the shade and it's never flowered, it's healthy, okay, but it's too shady again, move it to the sun because you want that flower. And a lot of people also think that anything that looks spiky and succulent is an aloe. But it's not, right? We have our agaves, all sorts of different agaves as well.
I was going to say, yesterday in the nursery, we were actually busy splitting some of our agaves because they reproduce those little pups on the side so wonderfully. And I said to our team, we can split these up a little bit, make some new plants because they're not so congested within the pot, and give the bigger aloe more room to breathe and to reproduce new pups. But don't forget the agave actually come more from Mexico. But again, they're all very water wise. And I know we've been blessed with lots of rain, but at the same time, we still have to remember that we are a water scarce country. And so we should be looking out for things that conserve water. Yeah, I loved it when you said we're supposed to drink, I think it was 2 liters of water, or at least 1.5 liters, and depending on our size, maybe a little bit more. And I'm thinking, I just tell people that I save all my water for the plants. My poor body, it doesn't have a big tolerance for water. It's going to be like an aloe. It just holds onto it. I'm very water wise.
These agaves, though, I want to go back because they also need a lot of water because they're succulents. But a lot of people don't know that when they buy a sugar replacement agave spirit, it actually comes from the agave plant, and it's not terribly difficult to get agave sugar. You just obviously have to sacrifice the plant, but you cut off all of the leaves so that you leave a core. Think of a piñata. Well, that thing is called a piña, or a core, like a cone. It looks like a pine cone once all the leaves are removed, and that you crush. And when you crush that, you remove, you're basically getting a sap, and that sap gets filtered, it gets heated, it gets filtered again, and then you end up with a beautiful agave syrup.
So we might be able to make it ourselves at home if we had to harvest our agaves.
Yeah, might be able to. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Once you have cut, you get down to where there's just that pine cone. You're going to take all that natural white meat that's inside.
Yeah.
And then you can allow all of the nectar to drip out of it, because nectar will drip out. Continue to crush it. Bring it to a gentle heat to about 50 degrees. Once it's to about 50 degrees, maybe 15 minutes, you keep it at that temperature. Then you can strain it and you have yourself some beautiful agave syrup. So you can I nearly said spirit, not spirit, syrup. I know that they do make spirits with it. I know some agaves are used to make tequila, which is used in the olden days, was used for medications. Now we replace that with apple cider vinegar. But you can make the agave syrup. Now those flowers, isn't it? Those flowers are wonderful. on the aloes. But what else is flowering? What else is growing at the moment?
You know, I was looking around and I think the way that the flowers are, it is actually all to do with warmth. So if you have your look at your strelitzias, so we've got a lot of orange colors in our garden. That's I'm seeing. You know, our strelitzias are flowering magnificently. If you've got the climber, the golden showers, so I think it's called Pfizer venusta, that also is basically, the flowers are hanging like bells off the fences and the walls here in Joburg. So I'm seeing a lot of richness in color. And then, you know, I have to admit, I love all our annuals. They're looking great. So we've got all our poppies. Our pansies are starting to flower. As I said, our poppies, the petunias are doing really well because they're loving this dryness that we're having. And then I had a look at, you know, even our salvias just keep on giving. And I think we were at a conference this last week, actually down in the Drakensberg, and we had Marcus Chilton Jones, who developed the gardens of Brightwater in the UK. And he was saying how the process went and they had to develop these gardens. But he said the plants that gave the most joy in the initial stages were our herbaceous perennials. So do we have things like the nemesias are looking great? Our osteospermums are going to start coming in now. You know, if you sowed the seeds of the Namaqualand daisies, they're not quite flowering, but they're starting to form nice plants. And so he was saying, you know, look for your perennials that are going to just give you lasting color. They're just going to keep coming back year after year, and you're going to see them. Like even our daisy bushes, I mean, they're looking lovely. And I'm thinking, you guys, you're not going to, you know, they're not worried too much about the cold, and they're providing a lot of nectar and pollen for those bees. As you said, there's not a lot of them around, but the plants are saying, hey, I'm here, come and choose me. You know, I want to share with you.
It's funny that we have, I mean, we're in winter. We think because it's so cold, well, there, you think it's so cold. It's not so cold here, but it's still cold. But because it is cold, we think that we're in the kind of the depths of winter. We aren't yet. We aren't yet in the thickest part of winter, but we are at the thickest part of the show where we require a news break. So we have a message. We have a message that has come in from Sister Zenith, and I'm going to read that immediately after the news break. But for now, folks, we have to find out what's going on out there in the world. So stay with us on Green Thumbs Up. We're going to cross over to the news, and we'll be right back straight after the news on Green Thumbs Up with Rabia Carvalho, Dr. Carrie Goodwin, and Siboniso Mkize. Let's go.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Alansaar News.
Making news at 10, former eThekwini Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda has called for the overhaul of the municipality's procurement system. Good morning, I'm Tabila Duma. For the overhaul of the municipality's procurement system, he says there's pervasive corruption in the metro, with service providers having to pay for the appointment letters and invoices. Kaunda said that people are corrupt because of the system. He said this when he delivered the Griffiths Mxenge Memorial Lecture in Durban on Thursday night. As mayor, he faced tender accusations of allegedly pressing eThekwini officials to expedite payments to service providers who had to pay the ANC ahead of its elective conference in 2022. A whistleblower made the allegations in an affidavit appended in Exmoor's case against the municipality, where the company sought to have Kaunda jailed about a 90 million rand water tanker contract. But now Kaunda, a member of the National Council of Provinces, is preaching against the tender and even went scorched earth against the metro that he led. Speaking at an ANC lecture for the first time since his 2024 ousting, he said that the water department in the water crisis-ravaged eThekwini was now a shell. Speaking at an ANC lecture for the first time since his 2024 ousting, he said that the water department in the water crisis-ravaged eThekwini was now a shell. Kaunda premised his main speech by criticizing those quick to discuss succession battles ahead of conferences instead of preaching and reviewing the ANC's policies and programs to check if they are still relevant for communities. He then discussed the procurement issues. He said that the determining factor for tenders was the price, but because the smaller companies did not own production means bigger companies got the tenders. Kaunda added that the state might continue with tenders, but stressed that the need for the government to accelerate efforts to boost its capacity. The 2025 Comrades Marathon is underway. The association's general manager, Elaine Dalias, says that there are over 22,000 entries. Dalias said that they have the biggest field of runners ever on a down run from Pietermaritzburg to Durban. The number of runners in the first starting group has been capped at 14,000. Dalias said that this year's race was planned with runners in mind to give them a better experience. This includes the first street finish since the early days of the race in 1921. The Comrades Marathon is the oldest and the biggest ultramarathon worldwide. The previous down run in 2018 attracted only 19,047 runners. Jackie Motsepe, the COO of the KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority, says the economic spin-offs will greatly benefit businesses in the tourism and hospitality industries. In more news, the police in the Western Cape are still searching for suspects in the shooting incident at the Mfuleni taxi rank near Khayelitsha on the Cape Flats on Friday. 4 people were killed and 3 others, including a commuter, were wounded. Police officers have since been deployed to various taxi ranks in Cape Town. Meanwhile, the South African National Taxi Council in the province says it will meet with representatives of their taxi associations in the coming week. KwaZulu-Natal police have arrested 3 suspects after they allegedly assaulted and robbed 2 European tourists along the Durban beachfront. Police reportedly responded to the scene after gunshots were heard in the area. It's understood that 2 of the suspects fled with the victims' cell phones and an undisclosed amount of money. Provincial police spokesperson Robert Nejunda said the 3rd suspect is an e-hailing driver whose vehicle was allegedly intended to be used as a getaway car. The suspects are expected to appear in court soon. And finally, protesters have clashed with security forces in the city of Los Angeles in the United States for a second day, following reports of continued immigration raids are prompting warnings of prosecution from top government officials. The confrontations yesterday took place in the Paramount area of southeast Los Angeles after reports of more immigration detentions outside a home improvement store. Dozens of green uniformed security personnel in riot gear and gas masks lined up on a road strewn with overturned shopping carts, deploying tear gas as bystanders and protesters gathered on median strips and across the street. Protesters jeered at the officers and called on immigration customs enforcement agencies to leave the area. Some protesters hurled rocks, bottles, and fireworks at the law enforcement officials, while pictures from the scene showed a car that had been set on fire. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Nyom posted a message on social media addressing the LA rioters, warning that interference with immigration enforcement will not be tolerated. Taking a look at the temperatures, Durban is at 16 to 24, Richards Bay 17 to 27, Ulundi 10 to 27, Ladysmith 7 to 26, and Margate is at 16 to 22. That's it for now. For Alansaar News, I'm Tabila Duma.
Radio Alansaar.
Getting you through your day. Radio Alansaar.
Welcome back.
Enjoy certified halal butchery products like mutton packs just $99.99 per kilo, mutton curry pieces just $99.99 per kg, tenderized beef steak just $109.99 per kilo, and chicken breast fillets just $69.99 per kg. Deals valid until Sunday, June 8th, only at Checkers Foods Gowie Park. Butchery, bakery, and deli certified by the NIHT.
Iqra Wafham. Read and understand the Holy Quran. Your program giving you the most powerful manual for life. It's the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Last Testament. The ayahs are recited, translated, and explained for us to understand by various learned scholars of Islam. Comes to you every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Iqra Wafham. Read and understand.
Join Alansaar Outreach in spreading warmth this winter. For just 130 Rand, you can sponsor a blanket and bring comfort to families in KZN who cannot afford winter essentials. Together, we can make a difference. Don't let the cold win. Share the warmth, show you care. Sponsor today and be part of the change. Contact Outreach on 031-208-1601 for more information.
Sunday Lounge.
The Sunday Lounge. With Salma Kaziwa. 10 to 12. Latest machines. Celebrity artist features. Then, news from the machine world. Top 10 countdown. The Sunday Lounge with Salma Kaziwa.
This Eid al-Adha, the Al-Imdad Foundation offers you a unique opportunity to share your Qurbani with Palestinian refugees and displaced families in Gaza. Our canned Qurbani program allows you to provide a ready-to-eat high-protein meal to starving Palestinian families. For just 3,450 Rand per share, we will slaughter, can and distribute your Qurbani. Donate in your name, for a loved one, or in honor of our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him. Visit alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Looking to book a venue for that special occasion? Come and book the Conference Centre on 207 West Road or Community Hall on 189 West Road, which accommodates 120 to 300 people with ample and safe parking. For all your hall requirements, contact the Reservations Department on 031 208 1601 or email us at reservations@alansaar.org.za. Save the date. Don't delay. Book away.
Follow us on Instagram at Radio Alansaar.
Get ready for Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you. We got you. Let us bring you the ideas, the facts, support, and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Alansaar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome to Green Thumbs Up. Yes, it is Green Thumbs Up. We are going on today for an hour until 11. We're missing Sister Salma KW, but just so everybody knows that, Sibunisa, you know, at 11 o'clock, we're actually going to have the very last, the final Hajj update. Can you believe it? Time has flown. It's the last Hajj update. And Sister Kelly Ramazani will be standing in for Sister Salma KW, inshallah, ameen. And she will be doing that final Hajj update. So, folks, stay with us. Don't change that dial. Stay with Alansaar. We are talking to Carrie Goodwin, and of course Carrie is telling us all about plants that are growing. We were talking about aloes, but we did have a question. So Carrie is no stranger to Radio Alansaar, and at this point she's less of a guest that we interview than a co-host that we bring on, and we just have a wonderful conversation.
True. Thank you for that. I feel part of the family.
Part of the family. Amen. So we were talking about aloes, and we were talking about the beautiful blooms and the beautiful flowers, and we did get a question that came in, and it's actually from Sister Zenith that says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister. Walaikum salam. Mashallah show. How can I treat cramps on the legs with home meds? So, Carrie, any idea?
No. I'm not. I learned from you all the healthy living tips. I love listening to you and finding out what I can do and use from my garden or just find in my local, I want to say, food stores. So
Yes.
you're definitely the expert on that one.
Okay, I have to ask because I always feel bad if we kind of divert off and you're sitting in the back waiting. But I think my dear listeners are accustomed to us bouncing around already. So let's talk about those leg cramps. So leg cramps again. Consider water, folks. Consider, are you having enough water? And consider what your blood sugar is doing. Okay, that's the first thing. Then you're wanting to make sure that you're taking enough magnesium, particularly if you're having leg cramps at night. Those leg cramps, it's called restless leg syndrome. you're laying in bed and your legs are jerking around and you kind of feel the need to move them all the time. That is often a shortage of magnesium or potassium. Now, there's different kinds of magnesium. Magnesium chelate works really, really well, and you can go and get some over the counter at any pharmacy or health store. And you can also have your natural magnesium if your gut also isn't working very well, because this kind of magnesium is going to give your body magnesium, but it's also going to have a laxative effect. And I'm talking about Epsom salts. So for Epsom salts, you would take 1 or 2 teaspoons of Epsom salts, put it into a glass of water, mixy, and get it down. Now that, as I say, is also going to make your tummy work, and it does flush out a little bit of water that you have in your body. So you're going to need to drink extra. In terms of the pain that you have in the cramps, remember, if it's muscular, if it's joint pain, if it's even skin pain, as long as there's no gaping open wounds, of course, castor oil is wonderful to just soothe things down. Okay, so that's the first question. We had another question that came in. Salams and Eid Mubarak. Walaikum salam to you and your families. Hope you are all coping well. Please forgive me for the late greetings. My husband is quite ill. Oh dear, he's very, very sick. Please give him y'all's du'as. Have a blessed day. Lots and lots of love. Du'as to you and your entire family. And that is from Sister Zuleika Mustafa. And so we make dua, inshallah, that Allah grants your husband complete healing with afia, and that, Ameen, and that only good things remain. That even after he has healed, there is nothing remaining after that is negative. And grant you all a lot of sabr and patience as you are dealing with that. And Ameen there from Brother Sibanisa. We had another question that came in. I'm just going to park it for just a second. It is health related because I want to hop back onto our gardening, Carrie. You were talking about these beautiful pops of color that are coming in, and that leads me to think about, we love to have flowers in our homes, a pop of color in our homes. And so is there, if we start to think about setting up a cut flower garden, because it is a style of gardening as well, cut flower gardens. You can have these if you have land, or you can have these even in a balcony. What would you do to kind of start at the very beginning? You get this brainwave, oh, I'd love a cut flower garden. What do I do now?
Okay, so it's actually the same principles for many other gardens. Is, you're going to need a lot of organic material, good compost, nice mulch, and that's going to be the start of your garden. The most important thing for a flower garden is actually a sunny spot. So like you say, Natal, you've got lots and lots of sun, so your cut flower gardens should be incredible. And then you have to, when you do the design of it, you actually have to design space so it's easy for you to walk between the flowers that are going to be blooming and harvest them. So, it's a sort of a different design to what you would have in your normal garden, where we layer our garden small, medium, and large, and we get that 3D effect. Here, you're going to actually almost create like pathways, because your flowers could be at different heights, but if you can't reach the beautiful dahlia that's flowering at like 1.2 meters, then you're going to be in a bit of a problem, and you're going to break the other flowers that might be flowering in front of it. So when you design your cut flower garden, be very conscious of where you're planting the plants, and are you able to reach them? The bed shouldn't be wider than probably about 75 centimeters wide. And
so
then you would have a path.
Could you still then, I'm just thinking, you could still kind of combine the country look with this, because if you have the smaller flowers at the bottom, the medium behind, and the big ones, but then have a walkway, like somewhere to walk in between, and keep those beds quite narrow, I think that might work too.
It would work beautifully. I can see a lot of people now, they are creating that, I want to say it's almost a micro meadow. So that meadow country look that you're describing.
Yes.
And then that's how they create what you were talking about also when you talk about the program, is those garden rooms. So you have that pathway that's actually creating the garden rooms within your garden. And although I said you need a lot of sun, some of our flowers, like our foxgloves and clivias, which are great for cut flowers, those ones those can take a little bit more shade. But you actually want to look for, at this time of the year, it's going to be our poppies, which are looking good. The strelitzias are looking lovely. I mean, we have some customers that actually put their aloes into a vase. So they bring them inside, they have them looking amazing in their home for the next 3 months or so. And then they would go and plant them back into the garden in a sunny spot. So they're almost using their plant, they clean the roots and it fits into the vase. And that works quite well, almost as a cut flower. The other one that I really thought, and you actually talked about it when you were making the sausages and with the eucalyptus, when you were smoking them. I mean, it's actually quite strange because you're so on trend with your topics, because the growers, originally we were growing for small and compact and looking good in your garden. And now people are saying, we can't only have that. Plants actually have to have multi-purpose. They have to multitask, just like the rest of us. And so we're trying to get taller plants. We can actually, in the last, I would say 18 months, we've started selling eucalyptus again, which we never used to be able to sell as a plant for people to use in their flower arranging. Delphiniums at the moment would be looking amazing for your flower arranging.
Love.
Yeah, so you also need some fillers like status or maybe gypsophila or a few of those filling plants. So you do need the color and the foliage. I'm also seeing, sorry, I jump around a lot, but it's just what I'm imagining and what I see in people's homes and gardens. A lot of people are using single flowers and they're almost putting them into like a little bowl. Like we were at dinner last night and the daughter had gone into the garden and collected a camellia. And the mom put it into a small little glass bowl as a single flower. And that was the table decoration. And I thought, we don't always have to have the tall, stately flowers, like maybe our perennial salvia is a really good one that's tall and stately. At one of our garden centers, one lady, she just loves it. She fills almost like a very shallow basin with water, and then she takes all the pansy flowers and she pops them in, and then it just looks like, or it'd almost be like water lilies if you imagined a pond, but now it's a pansy flower pond on your table. So it's also quite a beautiful, colorful arrangement, but just of single flowers. But as I say, if we go back to what you really need is also to try and look at your garden and choose plants that are going to flower throughout the year. So we wouldn't do it now. Like now we would maybe be looking at planting our bulbs, and we would have planted maybe some freesias and anemones, and those will give us really nice cut flowers going into spring. And then in springtime, we would look at maybe planting some dahlias, some zinnias, maybe a bit of the taller flowering plants, because dahlias have really made a comeback. And so that would be, your planning for future. Maybe you would even plant some cosmos, because cosmos you would plant in September, October, and then they're going to look amazing by March. But, you can't plant them now. And sunflowers. So I think if you were looking to plant now, as I say, it would be more maybe your daffodils and some of the bulbs, or you're going to look at your single flowering plants. And then come springtime, then you would look at your taller flowering plants like your sunflowers, your dahlias, cosmos, those type of things. Oh, and agapanthus. I love agapanthus.
Of course.
Yes.
And hydrangeas.
And hydrangeas. And even I saw an arrangement where actually the agapanthus and the hydrangeas, the flowers had dried out. So you still had the flower shape and then the black of the seed within the flower part. And the same with hydrangea. It was a white hydrangea, and it had now dried out and turned like an autumn color. And it looked magnificent. And I thought, even in its changing or its drying, it still adds such beauty. And I think we must never forget about that color comes in all colors, for want of, I don't know how to say it in a better way.
Yes,
but
color comes in all shades.
Plants have amazing colors at every time.
Yeah, lots of different shades. I was thinking about the little sweet alyssum blooms as well. Sometimes you're talking about those flowers in the house, right? a lot of herbs have very fragrant flowers. And if you have, you wanting to do flower arrangements, of course, you're going to layer the same as you would a garden, smaller and then larger, or long and then long out, and then fill the gaps around the vase, depending on the length and the height and all of these things. Or maybe you're going into ikebana, which would be a wonderful thing also to get into, because it's so simplistic, so elegant, so refined, and so beautiful with the flowers. But if you mentioned these floating ponds, is what I like to call them. Floating ponds at a dinner table. It's beautiful. You have a long channel of water, some floating candles. And if you find that your flowers are they're not looking fantastic, that you can use the whole flower, you can actually use fewer of the small flowers and then break the flowers and use the petals and let the petals float. And if you're using, for instance, borage flowers, they look beautiful floating in water. They look like a little purple star with a little black star inside the purple star with a little white and purple heart in the center. And we often forget how beautiful those can look in our homes. Bringing them from the outside in those cut flower gardens, absolutely beautiful. We do have another message here. Harry, let's have a look here. So Sister Shanaz, she says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Mashallah, topic salams and du'as and Eid Mubarak for yesterday. So what can you take for a runny tummy? Diarrhea. Okay, so first of all, some runny tummies are as a result of gastroenteritis, and that can, of course, there can be bacterial implications, there can be viral implications. And so you might need an antibiotic if there is a fever related to it. So that's the medical thing. Always check with your doctor. But if you're wanting just to stop that runny tummy, then what you can do is you can use marigold. Those English marigolds that we love. And that Carrie and I, we were talking about that the other day. Remember, it feels like the other day, it was last month. We're talking about the beautiful heads of calendula, the English marigold. A cup of marigold tea settles the runs almost immediately. So you will take a marigold flower, put it into a cup of boiling water. The flowers are normally quite big. It's about a quarter cup. Let that boiling water sit in that cup for about 10 minutes. Pop the flower out and you can sip it. And that can help to stop a runny tummy right there in its tracks. If you have inflammation in the stomach because you're feeling bloated and you've got this runny tummy, you can add yarrow to that as well. So in other words, you would take one marigold flower, you would take a teaspoon of the dry yarrow flowers or another quarter cup of the fresh yarrow flowers, which also are another beautiful cut flower that you can have, by the way.
Absolutely.
Put them both, this time into 500 milliliters of boiling water. Let it stand. And then after 10 minutes, you can strain it and you can sip it. And that's going to reduce the inflammation, reduce the cramps, act a little bit like a painkiller. And it's going to put a stop to that runny tummy. For children and babies, you can take a teaspoon of cornstarch, good old maizena. Put it into half a cup of water, mixy, and give it to a little one to drink. About 2 years old is fine. And that should bind the tummy a little bit so that it's not running. And speaking of that, we have another message that came in. And this is, let me just have a look at it. Over here, it is Sister Rabia, salams, wa alaikum salam. My baby has really bad colic. What can I do to help baby with the colic? Oh, Carrie, do you have children?
I have no children, so
no children.
I know my nephew. He used to have very bad colic.
Oi, and it is the bane of a parent's life because the baby is so much in pain and the legs are pulling and the arms are going and it's just screaming normally. Yeah. And you've tried everything and you've changed the nappy and nothing is working because this colic is air that is trapped in the tummy. So from a drink perspective, a few grains of brown sugar, dark brown sugar that's got quite a lot of malt in that little baby bottle of water. We're talking now 6 months and up. Okay, a few grains, just a pinch of that brown sugar, even as much as half a teaspoon if you're looking at a toddler of about 2 years old. Brown sugar, in the water first thing in the morning to keep the tummy going, firstly. Then you do a tummy massage, and the best oils for that tummy massage for babies. Firstly, it's not your baby oil, it's actually olive oil. Olive oil is wonderful for babies' tummies. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your hands and cup them, and you're going to put your hands over baby's belly, just where the sternum and where the ribs come to an end, right in the middle there. And put olive oil in your hands so that it's warmed, so you don't hurt baby with cold oil, and then he's having to contend with dad as well. Like, what are you doing? I'm already uncomfortable. So hands in the center of the sternum. Gently, you're going to press down, but as you press down, you're going to move in a clockwise direction, right? Around baby's outer belly, down to the front of baby, the pelvic area, right? And back up around to the sternum, a little bit lighter pressure. So down along, and with the olive oil. Even better, if you can put your olive oil into a saucepan and warm it slightly with some fennel. So that is the sumph, okay? If you've got the fresh fennel herb, that works great. Otherwise, the crushed sumph, warm it through, because fennel helps to displace gas. You can use this for babies, and you can use this for the elderly. Again, handsies just below the sternum, press down gently around about in a clockwise direction, moving with the colon. Then you take Baba's legs and you push his legs back so that his little legs go back towards his tummy. And you are doing these little pushing motions with baby's legs in and out and in and out and in and out, and you will hear a very loud kaboom. And then you know the air is out. Baby may burp. The other thing you can do is invert baby, so that baby's face is facing down. Hold baby from the bottom so that his little or her little legs are on either side of your elbow, and your hand is beneath the chest. And now rub baby's belly back and gently tap it. Baby will be much more comfortable upside down in that position. But when it comes to winds and gas in adults, yeah. Did you know that, Carrie?
I was going to say, you are such a wealth of knowledge. I'm just completely spellbound. Really wonderful to listen to.
Alhamdulillah. Babies are amazing. I absolutely love babies. And I think, most people do go a little bit goo gaga when they see babies. And I'm always handed this colicky baby, and mom's all like, here, take him. I'm like, okay, all right, all good. Flop him upside down, give him a good tap, and baby's like, bah. And then baby's good to go. If not, we lay baby down, rub the tummy, bring it on. And it works also for the young ones, and even for us adults. Olive oil massages are great. If you're an adult and you're finding that colic, that you're getting severe colic from constipation, your Epsom salts and water works well. Your castor oil works amazing. Old remedy, they used to make us drink castor oil. They make you drink castor oil.
We used to have it as children, I remember. It was disgusting.
You think that's disgusting? Let me tell you something about Portuguese parents. Castor oil is only second to cod liver oil. And we, during the winter, were given a tablespoon. We had these big bottles, 2.5-liter bottles of pure cod liver oil. And we're not talking about these pretty little cod liver oils with olive that taste like orange that you get from the chemist. No. Parents would take that tablespoon of olive oil in the mouth, followed by a tablespoon of honey, because you couldn't handle the taste. In the mouth, the cod liver oil in the mouth, this thing.
Oh,
And then if you started to get sick, then you got the castor oil. So you were oiled up all the time on the inside. Because gut health is so important. Gut health is so important. A question came in, Jazakallah Khair, and Sister Rabia. Just want to know, the Epsom salt, is it to be taken early morning before breakfast, or can it be taken anytime? Now, bear in mind it's a laxative and you shouldn't be drinking it if you are in the process of digesting food. So you either take it before food or you take it right after food, or you're waiting 20, 25 minutes to half an hour and then you take it. Now, we do need to go for an ad break again. Carrie, please stay with us. I want to come back to you and I want you to talk to us about thorn bushes, because I was listening to the news and I was thinking, oh man alive, we need more thorn bushes to keep the tootsies out. So we're going to be back straight after these ads. Don't go away. We'll see you after this.
Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickville Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
We are hiring. Join our team. Technician or sound engineer, Radio Alansaar, Durban is looking for a dedicated and skilled technician or sound engineer to join our dynamic team. If you're passionate about sound, tech savvy, and thrive in a fast-paced environment, we want to hear from you. If you have experience with sound systems, recording, and live event setups, basic technical troubleshooting skills, social media skills like content creation, live streaming, platform management, ability to work flexible hours, including weekends, strong attention to detail, and reliability, we want to hear from you. Send your cover letter and CV to executive@alansar.org.za. Apply now.
Iqra Wafham. Read and understand the Holy Quran. Your program giving you the most powerful manual for life. It's the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Last Testament. The ayahs are recited, translated, and explained for us to understand by various learned scholars of Islam. Comes to you every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Iqra Wafham. Read and understand.
Are you ready to win?
Tune in from Monday and test your knowledge on our products and services offered. Daily prizes galore, along with weekly tablet giveaways. Stand a chance to win a grand prize of a brand new laptop. The Breakfast Rush, together with the Cellular City group of Vodacom stores, Monday to Friday, run about 7:20 a.m. Do you want to be a winner? Brand new laptop. Well, let's do this.
Oh yes, that's it. Make sure you keep it
we're
locked.
back.
Sound.
Sibunisu, you caught me off guard there, brother. Man alive. I was thinking, oh, we got more adverts.
That's radio.
Sibu.
That's radio.
Sibu, are you enjoying the show?
Gee, alhamdulillah. The content.
Alhamdulillah. There we go.
Mhm.
There we go. So now your feet are going to be nice and relaxed. The legs are going to be no cramps because you've taken all the notes and made all the notes. You're going to teach your mom as well. So, you know, Sibunisa, you played the news at 10 o'clock. And dear listeners, as a side, in case you're wondering what's going on and where is Sister Salma Kazi Wahab, this is Rabia Carvalho. We're on Green Thumbs Up and we are standing in for Sister Salma KW until 11 o'clock, at which point Sister Kelly Ramzani will come in with the last final Hajj update. So you were talking about, you played the news for us, Sibunisa, at 10.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all these things about break-ins and crooks being caught and things. And I thought, you know, we need to ask Dr. Carrie Goodwin for some thorn bushes. What thorn bushes can we grow to keep the tootsies out? That's what I want to know.
Carrie, well, it actually goes back to what we were... Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So it goes back to actually what we were talking about earlier. Some of the agaves form amazing plants that, you know, will keep people out because their thorns are quite vicious. But my favorite, if I'm going to plant a hedge and it's to keep people away from, and it's an indigenous hedge, is actually the Dovialis, which is the Kai apple. And it forms a really nice, quite a vicious hedge at that, with nice thorns in it to keep people away. So I also think, that's a really, and it's nice, evergreen, hardy, low maintenance. You really never have to worry about it. It's just a little bit of a slow grower.
Okay.
But
Yes,
it does
it
form
is.
these lovely, delicious fruits as well. So
Yes.
that is a good one. We used to be able to, and when we were driving through the Free State, and I think you would have a lot of them in Natal, we used to have the pyracantha, but that's now on the invasive species list. But the pyracantha also forms a very vicious hedge. And I can see a lot of
Firethorn.
your... Yes, yeah.
Firethorn, right? Yes.
Yes. So, that had lovely berries, but as I said, is on the invasive species list. So I wouldn't, well, it's very difficult to find them these days. But if you do have them, you should in theory be cutting them down. But then you could also look at some of your trees. If you look at the smaller acacias, like your acacia karoo, which is not a big growing tree, but you could put it on your pavement and it would deter people. It wouldn't form that hedge with thorns, but the thorns are vicious enough. And because it's quite a straggly tree and doesn't grow huge, well, especially not up here in Gauteng, it forms quite a nice barrier between the road, your garden, and maybe your fence or your wall. And again, it's indigenous, so that's a really lovely one to have. When you look at your bigger thorn trees, like some of your Senegalias, and your Vachelias, like your paperbarks and your fever trees, those ones, I think they're such beautiful trees. But sometimes I know I live under two of them, and it makes it difficult for me to go walking in the garden because of the thorns that come dropping from the birds. So I'm not quite sure what the criminals are going to think when they walk in and they step on thorns. So they probably are a deterrent. But at the same time, when they're nice big trees, they have a lovely stem and beautiful branches for people to climb and look into your garden.
Yes,
so maybe,
yes.
Stay away from some of the thorn trees. But as I say, my favorite would be either to look at your aloes and your agaves, because they can really form a very good boundary, and not only for criminals, but actually also for fires, because they're so fleshy. And I was listening on the radio to your news and to other news as well, how with all this cold coming, people are going to start using a lot more heating appliances in their homes, and you would need to protect your homes. And I thought, you could be forming a barrier with a lovely aloe or agave, because they're so fleshy. They're going to not only protect your home from criminals, but they're actually also going to be protecting your home from fires, because they will slow that fire down very quickly when they're coming into your property. And I thought maybe that's something we have to think about as well when it is getting so cold and fires are just rampant. We've seen them, a lot of them now here. I don't know if you are seeing any.
Yes, I'm thinking of, as you're talking about them, and we're not seeing fires at the moment, thank goodness.
Okay, sure.
We wait on Cape Town. Cape Town every year seems to be a disaster with fires, but hopefully we say inshallah this year not. But as you were talking, I was thinking of you mentioned the one, and I thought, oh, hang on, what about the Queen of the Night, the cactus, because it's huge, and the candelabra cactus, and that can become as big as a tree, and then we've got, what about dragon fruit? Because dragon fruit, you get the food, you get the thing, and you can grow the dragon fruit climbing out of bougainvillea, which also has thorns. And then my brain was going, prickly pears, but aren't prickly pears alien invaders now?
Yeah, so unfortunately, and the same with the dragon fruit, one of them is perfect and we can plant it. And I'm going to get muddled up. I can't remember if it's the purple flower that's invasive or the white flower that's invasive.
Okay.
So we, as garden centers and growers, we're very cautious of planting either dragon fruit or prickly pears. On a commercial level, the farmers are very welcome to plant them, and they do plant them to provide us with fruit. But they're maintained and they actually have permits to plant them because it's a commercial endeavor. As home gardeners, it's not so easy for us to do it because they are on their different categories within the invasive species list. And so we have to be careful to use them.
Yeah. Now you are a absolute wealth of knowledge, and it is time to release you, but to say thank you so
Very
very,
kind.
very much for being with us on the show. Please do give
Thank you for
us your
everything.
contact details. Should people want to get a hold of you, come and see you, need specifically Harry Potter speak because you do it so well. I'm thinking Firethorn and you bada boom bada bums, bada boom bada boo, bippity poppity boop. So, what is that contact details for us, please? Oh, I think she's
Email
gone
address?
already. No, there we go.
Okay, R1 at. Oh no. Oh, sorry. My email address is Carrie, CARY, at colourfulgroup.co.za. I don't have many social media handles yet. I've spent too much time in the garden, but otherwise I can give you my cell phone number as well if you'd like. It's 082-781-2710, and I would love to receive like any WhatsApp or comments or questions, anything to do with gardening. Can I just, before I go, when you were talking all about the magnesium sulfate for our jumping legs, is that they're actually also really good for the garden? Oh, yes. Sorry.
I was talking about the chelate.
magnesium.
Yes, you're talking about sulfate for the garden. Yes.
Yes, so magnesium sulfate. So we use Epsom salts as well for the garden.
Yes.
And what's fascinating for me is we have customers who say, they would like us to buy it. They want to buy it in 25 kilogram bags because not only do they use it for the garden, but they do use it, like you were recommending, for health purposes for themselves. So I always love the fact that it just reminds me that we all living and we all looking for the same minerals and nutrients almost from each other. It just makes me think how small the world is. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking so you can carry on with your show.
No, it's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being with us today. And we'll see you again, same time, same place next month. We always talk to you once a month. So we'll see you. That was Dr. Carrie Goodwin, who is with us once a month, and she gives us loads of wonderful information. We were talking about magnesium back there for a moment, and here's a beautiful thing about magnesium and Epsom salts in this particular case. Epsom salts has got available magnesium. It's a wonderful thing to give your citrus trees, particularly lemon trees. Once a month, a good dousing of Epsom salts is really good. And then, of course, if you have phalaenopsis orchids at home, folks, and you are going into flowering season, now phalaenopsis will really only start to flower around August, September. But it's nice to begin to include around the early August even, start to give it a little bit of Epsom salts in your weekly watering. Remember, with orchids, the phalaenopsis orchids are the ones you buy from the corner store. You take them, you dunk them in some water for 20 minutes. That water should have a little bit of food, plant food. Every week, just change the plant food. Maybe you're using a multi-feed this week. Maybe next week you're using a seed grow type thing. Maybe throw in a little bit of Epsom salts just before they start to flower. Now, there are a few messages that have come in. I want to address those quickly before we close. And there is something to read out. So, Sibuniso, you've got something for us.
Gee, it's 45 before the hour of 11. Don't forget, on the other side of 11, we do have Kelly Ramzan standing in for Salma Wakazi. That's his hashtag Sunday Lounge. Okay, I got a message coming up from our very own Muhammad Rashid Kazi. Right here on Facebook. He's saying, lovely broadcast and studio, Rabia Carvalho. Oh, wow. Mashallah. Okay?
Alhamdulillah, mashallah.
Make sure you catch this evening between 6 and 8. That is Sanai Mohammed. Inshallah. Back on you.
Inshallah. Ameen. Wonderful. Jazakallah for that, Sibuniso. Yes, I'm not in the studio this morning. I am in my home studio. So, it's just you're home with Rabia today.
I can say your studio, it's looking amazing. I can see we've got some people that are watching right now. Yeah, I can look your background. Wow, yeah, mashallah. Man.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. That's from my podcast, The Real Life Lab, with Rabia Carvalho. We talk about mental health and all sorts of things. And you can find me, Life Coach Rabia, on all of the socials anyway. So I try to use my studio as much as I can. So let's just go back to the topic on hand. Okay, we get a message here from Beryl. We're going to work backwards because there's quite a few. And Beryl says, Salam, Sister Rabia, walaikum salam. What can I use for nausea, stomach cramps, and wind? So that basically goes back to what we discussed with the marigold and with the fennel. So if the stomach is kind of cramping a lot, yarrow helps to reduce the inflammation. Marigold will settle a runny tummy or help with constipation. Fennel is going to assist with wind, definitely, as a tea, as will licorice. And then for nausea, ginger is the king and queen and everything for nausea. Ginger. So you can have fresh ginger, put a little piece in your mouth. It works great. Cloves also work very well for wind and cramps. You just take a little clove, pop it into your mouth, and there you go. And you let it soften in your mouth, and then you will take another one when that particular clove is now softened and given up the ghost, right? And then remembering for massage, castor oil is brilliant to massage, to get things moving. Because the thing is, if there's a cramp in the stomach, we got to ask ourselves, why is the stomach cramping? Is there bacteria? Is there an imbalance in our gut microbiome? And for that, we want a good probiotic, ideally something that contains Lactobacillus acidophilus. So when you get yourself a probiotic, turn the bottle over, look on the back and see. There could be Lactobacillus, strepto, whatevers, and all sorts of other ones. You're wanting the Lactobacillus acidophilus because that counteracts the overgrowth of bacteria that are not great for us. The other reason you might get in cramps and wind is parasites. Parasites. Eat a lot of pumpkin seeds. That's great for parasites. Wormwood, okay, South African Artemisia, the Villa Als is our wormwood here. Or you can use sweet Artemisia, which is the sweet wormwood. Those are great ones to have as a tea. You can also get them as capsules, right? Another message that came in here from Sister Aisha Salaji. Salam alaikum. She says, Salams, Rabia. Hope everyone is keeping well. Please may I know what is good for constipation after prostate gland procedure? Maaf and Jazakallah. No, absolutely no maaf required. We welcome your questions. We love hearing from you. We even have callers that listeners that phone in now, so you're very welcome. Let's talk about constipation after prostate gland procedure. Why are we getting constipated? Normally because of all the chemicals that have been pumped in our body, the anesthesia, that kind of thing. So the first thing we want to do, of course, always check with your doctor, but the first thing you're wanting to do is to begin to drink yarrow tea. That will reduce inflammation. Then you want to get onto something called milk thistle. Milk thistle you can have as a tincture. You can have milk thistle as a capsule or a tablet. Milk thistle isn't one that you can have as a tea though. But milk thistle is necessary to support the liver that is going to be busy getting rid of all of the chemicals. Milk thistle is one of those super important ones to take if you've had any kind of surgical procedure, or if you often go for surgical procedures. If you have anything to do with liver issues as well, gallbladder, milk thistle can be taken long term, okay? A liver regenerates every 4 years. We have a brand new liver. Milk thistle can ensure that you have an absolutely beautiful brand new liver, even if you are at a stage of non-alcoholic liver cirrhosis, which comes as a result of a big fatty buildup in the liver. Milk thistle is amazing for that. So we want to support it after the surgery. Now you've got the constipation, you're doing two things. You're doing the massage as best you can, not going onto the site at all. Depends on how that surgery was done. If you've had a laparoscopy, those through tiny incisions, that's great. It's fine. If you had, is not going to be much bruising, but if you've had a full, cut open, then you're not going to be able to do massage. But for constipation, then remember to drink your water, and you can take some castor oil. A teaspoon of castor oil really is the very, very best for constipation, and it will help your tummy to go without a lot of trouble. The other thing you can do, which is a fail-safe for me, is parsley tea. Parsley tea. You get some fresh parsley, that's a quarter cup. If you have dry parsley, it's just a teaspoon. Put it into a cup of boiling water, let it stand for 10 minutes, and then after that, you sip it. Important to sip it slowly to give the body a chance to absorb the medicine, the herb that's in the tea, and not just flush it right out your body from, drinking and out. When it comes to these tisans, we sip it. Within 2 hours, you should be able to go to the bathroom without any difficulty. Lastly, for that constipation is your aloe vera suppository. Taking your aloe vera leaf, removing the thorns down either side, opening the leaf up so that you can expose the gel. Try to cut out longish strips of gel, which you then put in the freezer. Once frozen, wrap it in a little bit of castor oil, in a little bit of vitamin E, or in a little bit of Vaseline, and up it goes. It is going to soften the stools and allow you to have a bowel movement. Okay, so that is some of that. Then we've got another message, just working through the messages as best we can. Sister Sayeda, assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So good to see your message once again. Please let me know, what is Shilajit? What is this good for? And how do you take it? Wow, there's so much info on Shilajit, and you can get a lot more information on my TikTok account. Just look for Shilajit, Google Shilajit Life Coach Rabia, and you'll see. But because there's a lot of detail there. But Shilajit is basically the destroyer of weakness, essentially. Shilajit is a resin. It's created through years and years, centuries of deposits of plants, right? Plants that have kind of compressed, and it turns into a thick black tar-like resin. And you can buy Shilajit in resin form. You can buy it in powder form. And this ties into another question that we've received about Shilajit, which was, I want to read the question out while I answer it because it's the same. It's on the same topic. And we've got the two questions. The other question was, they've read about, I have a question about Shilajit. Apparently there's a powdered version now. Is it as effective as the sticky black one? What do we need to look for when purchasing this? So I'm going to answer both questions. This is from Muhammad Salahuddin, and let's answer both of those questions. So Shilajit, destroyer of weaknesses, it is a plant resin. It exists underneath mountains, and what is done is it gets extracted, and that resin in its pure form is taken on a daily basis. You can take it in the morning, and early evening. If you take it too late in the evening, it doesn't let you sleep because it gives you a lot of energy. You can take it before you go to gym as well. Over time, it actually balances out. It helps to balance out your circadian rhythms, your sleep cycles. So it is eventually going to help you to sleep. But if you're taking it close to sleeping time, then it's not going to help you while your body is adjusting to it. Shilajit is one of those things that contains 84, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 84 minimum of different elements and nutrients in it. Okay, these are micronutrients, macronutrients that our body really does need, but it also contains humic and fulvic acid, and those are very important antioxidants that keep us young. So Shilajit has been touted as a miracle cure for so many things, and some people compare it to sea moss gel. I don't like sea moss gel because it tastes revolting. It doesn't contain as many nutrients. It doesn't contain the humic acid, just the fulvic. So, or is it the fulvic, just the humic? It's one of those it doesn't contain. I can't remember exactly now. I'm pulling everything out of my rememberer up here. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your Shilajit. I love to take my Shilajit in the coffee. It adds a depth of flavor to the coffee. Shilajit, a depth of flavor. But it wakes you up. It wakes you up. So there's something for you, Siboniso. Shilajit.
Yep.
Wakes you up,
Shilajit.
gives you a boost of energy, but it also gives you this wonderful feeling. Like if you've been really stressed and you're walking into a forest and you're taking a beautiful deep breath air. Deep breath of air and oxygen, because it allows our cells to open up to receive oxygen. It is not psychoactive in any way, but it can make you feel very light and very peaceful. It builds your immune system. It works on your circulatory system. It helps your urinary tract. It helps kidney health, heart health, brain health. It's one of those that has been studied extensively and increasingly to prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's a great one to take for that. How do you select it? Make sure that it's rich and dark and black and thick. The powder, personally, I don't take the powder. Because if it's powdered, it means it needs to have been dried. It's normally a lighter brownish color. A lot of stuff is lost in there, in the powder. Then you're taking it in a capsule that first has to dissolve the capsule. Now the powder is in your digestive system and you lose a lot of the goodness because Shilajit begins to absorb from the moment it enters your mouth and goes down your throat. So that it is best to take as a resin in warm water, in a cup of tea. It is a taste that you have to get used to. But when you are putting Shilajit in your water, here's your test it, put it into warm water. If it dissolves immediately and it becomes a yellowish brown, that is not good quality Shilajit. If it tastes like TPC or chemicals, that is not a good quality Shilajit. It should make your water dark, brown, and it should not leave any residue behind either. Okay, some of the other questions we've got here. Let me get to them as I scroll down. We are, as I've said, and if you can see us at a distance, I am joining in remotely. So let's see. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Rabia. How do we use magnesium for joint pain? That I think was discussed. Assalam, please may you repeat what you said about the liver and milk thistle. So it's milk and then the word thistle, Thistle. I would suggest, please, if you don't mind, just go and play the video again on Facebook or YouTube. We are running out of time. We have 1 minute to go before we cross over to the final Hajj. So essentially, liver helps to regenerate the milk. Milk thistle helps to regenerate the liver. I'm getting confused here betwixt and between. So many other messages, Shibunisu. We don't have time to get them all. But please join us. Join us next week. We're going to continue speaking about plants and natural living and natural healing all in one. It's been wonderful having the extra time,
on our side,
hasn't it? Time is never on our side.
But all I can say before we wrap it up, I want to say it's been a true privilege to work behind the scene as your sound tech. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Sibonisa. Sibo is more than our sound engineer. He is our right arm here in studio. So I want to thank you then, Sibonisu, actually, because you've made the show happen. Alhamdulillah. So jazakallah for your efforts. And to the from the entire team at Alansaar, Sibonisu, myself, for the entire team at Alansaar, a wonderful continuation of a very Mubarak Eid to all of you. And we will see you next week. From now until then, it is a beautiful day to be happy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey, little fish in the bottom of the ocean, moving along in a really cool motion. Did you ever wonder where you came from? Who is the Lord of all creation? The little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Hey, little bird, so way up high, light up the sky with your colored design. Tell me who made you and I, me to walk and you to fly. The little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator.